All right, here's my beef with netball, and it's not what you think.
Weather, eh?
So I always get this question asked to me, like, what is the most physically demanding sport? And you'd obviously assume that the main ones that are spoken about is probably NFL, rugby, AFL, like all these really intense, physically intense kind of combat-y sports. And you can obviously even include, obviously mixed martial arts is the most physically demanding sport. But I reckon one that always gets overlooked is netball. Netball is a seriously tough sport, and it's simply just because you can't move with the ball. So to get the ball, you've got to move around. So off-ball movement is what it's called in basketball. And then once you get the ball, you have to just decelerate ASAP. You can't continue to just kind of like break that momentum and decelerate. You literally have to decelerate in 2 steps. And this is significant demands being placed on your joints. It's really common to see a lot of ACLs done in netball, and yeah, mostly women play sports, and yes, ACL injuries seem to occur at a higher rate in women than it does in men. But honestly, I think you can really contribute it just to the demands that the sport places on the body. People complain about how challenging basketball is on the joints, right? But you can really dictate how you decelerate. So you can just stop on a dime, or you can kind of go through the motions and decelerate at your own pace. Whereas netball, like I mentioned, you've just got to catch the ball and take those 2 steps. So sometimes you see girls almost sprinting into a catch, and then once they catch the ball, they've just got to stop on a dime like that. And some of the best NBA players to play, their main skill of their athleticism is being able to stop on a dime. Like prime James Harden, Luka Doncic, these players can literally stop in a couple steps, and they're praised by commentators and fans for being able to do that. And these netball girls, this is a literal demand that they have to deal with tens and tens of times a game. Yeah, in a nutshell, it's absolutely brutal, the kind of demands you have to place on your joints, specifically your knees and your hips, when you're playing netball. Another issue I have with netball, I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but in Western Australia, it's a winter sport. So you play netball in winter, and a lot of the competitions are outdoor comps. So as you can tell, a lot of the time in winter it rains. So these girls are playing in rain, outside. So they're playing this sport that's extremely demanding on their deceleration, and then they're stopping and starting, and then they're playing outside on outside courts in the rain. So that is literally a recipe for disaster. If netball didn't exist and some people pitched this idea to, I don't know, some random people, they would be like, this is just an absolute recipe for disaster. Like, how can you assume that there's not going to be a bunch of injuries? Like, there's just too much demand placed on the body. The conditions are just way too chaotic as it is, and now you're adding another element of wet floor, which is just insane. So that's a big bit of beef I have with netball. I always say to my friends that play, or people I know that play, they got to do something about that. You can't keep playing netball in the rain outdoors. People play football outdoors, but they've got cleats on and it's grass. So, you know, it helps a lot with stopping and starting, whereas netball, you may as well play on a slip and slide sometimes. So it's crazy what the girls are asked of. So that's my beef with netball, but what can you do if you play netball to try and, you know, mitigate these risks? Well, firstly, you can really work on those really demanding portions of the game. So the deceleration efforts, you can get into the gym and really try to load those, and also try to load the complexes that have force distributed through them. So obviously when you decelerate really hard, the knees are going to cop quite a lot of force. So it's all right. Make sure those knees are super strong with just general strength training. That'd be a good step. Another great step would be working on your plyometrics, so getting a lot of plyos in and a lot of deceleration work in. And also not just forwards and backs, a lot of multi-directional stuff would be really beneficial as well, because games of netball are chaotic. You're going to be stopping on a dime, left, right, forward, back, diagonal. So you want to kind of try to mimic that in your training as well and get really good at that too. But yeah, in an essence, I really respect netballers. I think it's a seriously challenging sport, especially if you're playing at a really hard intensity and a high level. I think it kind of gets overlooked sometimes because men don't play it, and so they kind of just don't really understand how difficult it can be to play. But yeah, definitely mad respect to netballers, and if you are a netballer and you are worried about these things, because I do see a lot of injuries and do have a lot of people coming to me with injuries, just work on those things that I mentioned and just try to really narrow down to a T your body awareness and get really good at using your body, stopping, starting, moving around. But yeah, hope this helps. Hope you enjoy, and let me know if you agree. If you like this video, give it a like and follow the page if you can. Cheers.